Blackness, silence. Then a slow glow rises over the horizon, but it's not the sun, it's something vast, something impossible. A giant arc stretches across the sky, luminous, shimmering, endless. It curves from one horizon to the other, slicing the heavens in half like a celestial scar. You look up, and for a moment you forget how to breathe, because Earth now has rings. We've always looked up at the night sky and wondered, what lies beyond, what could be? But what if something cosmic changed here at home? What if our planet suddenly gained a system of rings like those of Saturn, not small, not faint, but massive, bright, dominating the sky? A permanent feature of our world. How would it look? How would it change life on Earth? Would it be beautiful or catastrophic? Tonight, we explore a world transformed, a world where Earth wears a crown of ice and stone. To understand this scenario, we need to understand rings themselves. Planetary rings are not solid. They are made of countless particles, ice, rock, dust, some as small as grains of sand, others as large as mountains. They orbit a planet in a thin, flat disk, locked in a delicate balance between gravity and motion. Too close and tidal forces tear objects apart. Too far and they drift away. This boundary is called the Roche limit. Inside it, rings can exist. Outside it, moons are born. If Earth had rings, they would likely form within this limit, stretching tens of thousands of kilometers into space. But how could Earth even get rings? There are only a few realistic possibilities. A shattered moon, a captured asteroid torn apart, or debris left over from a massive collision, each one violent, each one catastrophic, and each one capable of reshaping our world forever. Let's imagine the most likely scenario. A celestial collision. A rogue object, perhaps the size of a small moon, drifts too close to Earth. Gravity takes hold. Tidal forces begin to stretch it, pull it apart. Cracks form, then fractures, then complete destruction. In hours, the object disintegrates. Its fragments scatter into orbit. A cloud of debris surrounds the planet, at first chaotic. But over time, order emerges. Particles collide, spread out, flat. They settle into a disk. A ring system is born, bright, reflective, immense. From the surface of Earth, the sky would never be the same again. Imagine standing outside at night. You look up, and instead of a dark, empty sky, you see a glowing band stretching across it, not faint like the Milky Way, but bold, bright, structured, a ribbon of light. During the day, it wouldn't disappear. It would remain visible, pale against the blue sky. At sunrise and sunset, it would ignite. Gold, crimson, violet, a permanent spectacle, but the exact appearance would depend on one crucial factor, the angle. Earth's rings would align with the planet's equator, so what you see depends on where you stand. At the equator, the rings would appear as a thin line slicing straight overhead, a sharp, glowing thread. But as you move toward the poles, the view changes. The rings rise, they widen. They become a massive arc dominating the sky. In polar regions, they could fill nearly half the heavens, always present, always watching. Beauty comes with consequences, because rings don't just reflect light, they block it. Massive portions of sunlight would be intercepted by the ring system, and that shadow would fall on Earth, a permanent band of dimness circling the planet. Regions under the rings would experience reduced sunlight, lower temperatures, altered weather patterns. It wouldn't be constant darkness, but it would be enough to matter. Entire climates would shift, rainfall patterns would change. Some ecosystems would collapse, others would adapt. Agriculture would be affected. Certain regions might become less productive, others more stable. The balance of life would begin to shift, quietly, slowly, but inevitably. Climate is fragile. It depends on energy, on sunlight, on delicate feedback loops. Now imagine a massive structure in orbit redistributing that energy. The rings would reflect sunlight back into space, cooling the planet overall. But they would also trap some radiation, creating complex, uneven effects. The equatorial regions under constant shadow bands might cool slightly. Polar regions, depending on angle, could receive reflected light. Bright nights. Warmer winters, the global climate system would become more chaotic, more unpredictable. Storm patterns might intensify, jet streams could shift. Ocean currents might change direction. And over decades or centuries, a new equilibrium would emerge. But getting there would not be smooth. Astronomy would never be the same. The rings would outshine most celestial objects, light pollution on a planetary scale. In many regions, the night sky would never be truly dark again. Stars would fade behind the glow. Deep space observations would become difficult. Ancient human traditions built around the stars would change. Navigation by constellations would become harder. Cultural myths would evolve around the rings. They would become central to art, religion, Identity, because when something dominates your sky every night, it becomes part of who you are. Now we look beyond Earth's surface, into orbit, where the consequences become even more severe. Modern civilization depends on satellites, communication, navigation, weather monitoring, all orbiting Earth. But a ring system would turn near-Earth space into a hazard zone. Millions, billions of fast-moving particles, traveling at kilometers per second. Any satellite crossing the rings would be destroyed, instantly. Orbital paths would need to be redesigned, limited to safe zones above or below the rings. Launching rockets would become more complex, more dangerous. Timing would be critical. A mistake could mean total loss. Space travel would not stop, but it would become harder, more expensive, more risky. Rings are not permanent, they evolve. Over time, particles collide, they break apart, they drift. Some fall into the planet, others escape. Earth's rings might last millions of years, or they might begin to decay sooner. It depends on their composition, their mass. Their interactions with the moon, yes, the moon, its gravity would disturb the rings, create gaps, waves, structures. Much like Saturn's moons shape its rings. Eventually, some ring material could spiral inward, burning up in the atmosphere as constant meteor showers. Imagine that, a sky where shooting stars are no longer rare, but continuous. A slow rain of cosmic debris. Beautiful and ominous. Right now, Earth is stable, calm on a cosmic scale. We have one moon, clear skies, predictable seasons. Our environment supports life in a delicate balance. Adding rings would disrupt that balance. Not enough to destroy all life, but enough to change it, profoundly. It would be a reminder that even small changes in cosmic conditions can ripple through an entire planet. Let's walk through it. Step by step. Day 0, a massive object approaches Earth. Hours later, it crosses the Roche limit. It begins to break apart. Days later, a debris cloud forms around Earth. Weeks later, the debris spreads into a ring. Months later, the rings stabilize into a flat disk. Year 1, the sky is permanently changed. Climate shifts begin. Decade 1, weather patterns adapt, agriculture adjusts, satellite infrastructure is rebuilt. Century 1, new ecosystems emerge. Human culture evolves around the rings. Millennium 1, the rings begin to slowly decay. A constant rain of particles enters the atmosphere. The sky remains alive with motion, and through it all, life continues, changed but enduring. So what does this tell us? That Earth is not as fixed as it seems. That the line between stability and transformation is thinner than we think. A single cosmic event could rewrite the sky, alter the climate, reshape civilization. And yet life would adapt. It always does. The rings would become part of our story, a symbol of change, of fragility, of beauty born from destruction. But here's the real question. If something as dramatic as planetary rings could transform our world so completely, what other hidden possibilities are waiting in the universe? Just one event away. And what if next time, the change isn't just in the sky, but on the ground beneath our feet?